Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome inside Garage Door Sports, your no-holds-barred weekly discussion on everything in the sporting world. For all your news on hockey, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, and more, you've come to the right place. And now it's time for your hosts, Nick McVicker, Kyle Vardy, and Irfan Manji. Well, boys, we've made it. This might be episode 68 since the relaunch, but this is actually a very special episode for us. Nick McVicker joined through the Garage Door Sports Cup phone by my two great co-hosts, Kyle Vardy and Irfan Manji. And guys, this is episode number 100 of Garage Door Sports. Kyle, how incredible is that to hear?
Fireworks, yay! Woo! No, honestly, it's honestly crazy. When you said that the other day, that it was going to be episode 100 this week, it was one of those holy crap. Like it's perspective is really what it is. It's been an amazing ride for sure, and it's just one of those wow. I just didn't expect it, to be honest.
For sure. And Irfan, what do you think about 100?
Well, I think big celebration, and it's unfortunate that we're not, together in the studio for this, but we are together virtually. So grateful for that. But like Kyle said, I think we've come a long way. And I think with the relaunch, as well as the original show, when you started off with Justin, it's come a long way. And I'm glad we hit triple digits because that's freaking awesome.
And you mentioned the original co-host, and we couldn't do episode 100 without bringing the man, the myth, the legend that is my former amazing co-host, Justin Rapier, is joining us for the first time since the relaunch. Justin, welcome back, man.
As I always start the other show.
I was waiting for it.
Ask me the question, Kyle.
Oh, Justin, how are you doing today?
Oh, not so bad.
We've missed your voice on here, dude.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's we took a little hiatus. How long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago since we took the hiatus.
Yeah, it took a improvements break. And by improvements, I mean you improved on the co-host, which was a good idea, probably.
I wouldn't say that. We changed co-hosts.
Less babbling and bitching from me, and then you saved it for another show, which is good. You can only have enough of me. There's only so much of me you can go around before people stop listening. So
that is true. That is true. No, but man, we're very happy to have you back. It's long overdue for sure. And what better way to celebrate 100 than bringing you back in the fold, man?
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, boys, we got to talk a little sports before we talk about the 100th episode. So let's get right into our kickoff segment, sponsored by Canada Kicking Academy, calling all kickers and punters in the Southern Ontario region. If you are looking for year-round professional development with elite competition, you need to train with the Canada Kicking Academy. The Ferraro brothers, Daniel and Gabe, are both University of Guelph alumni, and after illustrious university careers, they want to teach you everything they've learned over the years. Follow them at CanadaKickingAcademy.com or follow them on Instagram at Canada Kicking Academy. And boys, we're going to get to headlines quickly. And there's no bigger headline in the sporting world right now than Pierre-Luc Dubois, who has finally been traded for Patrick Laine, the second pick in the exact same draft. We just had number 2 and number 3 from the 2016 draft traded. The only player in the top 3 not traded is Austin Matthews, and that doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. Justin, we'll start. That's true. That is true. Justin, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this trade and breaking it down piece by piece?
This is the most logical trade, realistically. Like once they brought up that he was going to get traded, it seemed like the most realistic one. And they even talked about it in the summer, right? Swap guys that don't want to be there. Saw a great tweet that laughed. Guy didn't want to be in Ohio and didn't want to be in Manitoba. So you traded him to America's Manitoba and Canada's Ohio. Yep. You just swapped them.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like you're swapping guys that don't want to be, in place. Roslovic too. Like, I think there's an epidemic of players that think they can call their own shots, which I think is a separate problem in leagues. The fact that you got, 2 22-year-olds, 22, 23-year-olds coming out being like, oh, I don't want to play here anymore. That's sick. That's life, buddy. Until you're a free agent. I don't really understand players going out there and calling their own shot like this. And I think it's pretty stupid. Realistically, I would have told him to suck it and, play on. You're getting paid all this money. But We'll see. Like, I think Dubois will be good in Winnipeg. I think it works out there. They get another center, some center depth. Probably Stasny moves to the wing to take Laine spot or just fill another wing spot. Laine and Columbus will be interesting. I don't know how he's going to work with Torts. He's got a lot of Finnish guys there. Just watching the game, Koivu skating with them. So Mikko Koivu might sign a contract there. I didn't realize he's kind of unretiring. They have Korpisalo, Kekalainen's Finnish, so like he's got the Finnish connection there, but I don't know if that's going to work Tortsy-wise. And until he signs a contract, I still think Winnipeg wins that trade because they got control, right? Laine could have a sick year and then just try and fleece them on money and wait for an offer sheet.
That's fair.
Go to arbitration. Yeah. So it does look like Columbus will win the trade in the end because I think Roslovic is a good player too. I think they should have got more than a third rounder. But you can't make calls on this trade until a year. This is going to be like the Kessel trade where like you can bitch and moan about it, but really it took 5-6 years to find out how that trade ended up going, right? You're going to have to wait and see, I think, for that.
For sure. And Kyle, I know you might have a different opinion on this. So what do you make of this trade so far?
Oh, Winnipeg got robbed, straight up, point blank.
But what if Laine leaves at the end of the year?
Doesn't matter.
But how? If Dubois
if he leaves on an offer sheet, as you said, they're minimum getting 2 first-round picks for him back, anyways.
Yeah, or
because
he's not going to sign. He might be Dubois all over again. He might say,
and then they go through that process again, and realistically, they got Roslovic for nothing. Then, if they go and then trade Laine next year for picks and prospects, or even then roster players, depending on it.
No, like on the face of it, it looks like that, right? But Roslovic was like a second, third rounder too, right? So it also is going to come down to what does Winnipeg do with that third rounder, right? But I think
knowing Winnipeg, they're going to draft some.
When you look at it,
Sammy Niku guy.
They have Scheifele, so right, they got a really solid 1-2 punch up the middle now.
Yep.
And realistically, you want to build your team through the middle of the ice, goaltender and out through center, right? So that's set. Right. Yes, they lose some scoring punch, but I think with Ehlers and having Kyle Connor, right, you did have a winger that was kind of expendable. Right. So I think unless you were bringing in, a top defenseman to fix their problems, which you're not, I think center was the way to go. Right. And Roslovic hadn't played a game. Roslovic was doing it even worse than Dubois and Laine. He's just like, I'm not playing again for you. So they were never going to trade Roslovic on his own for anything. So I think the fact that they got a third rounder, could it have been a second? Right, but I think that was more of a toxic situation because he wouldn't even step on the ice with them.
Yeah, like looking at it straight up, I think the third rounder definitely helps in Winnipeg's perspective. I think definitely kind of, offsets what I consider more of a lopsided trade. Because to me, Laine for Dubois straight up is probably what the trade would have been in my opinion. Obviously, that I'm not an NHL GM, so that kind of plays a factor into it. But it's one of those. I view Laine as the superior player right now. Maybe, and especially if Torts can teach him how to play defense comparatively, it could even be more lopsided of a trade comparatively, right? Because you look at what Columbus is really missing right now is that elite goal scorer. They don't have one.
That's true.
And a center to play with him now, though. Who's going to be a center?
Yeah, no, and that's the next question is who's going to step up and be that? Is it Max Domi, even though he's potentially even falling out of favor right now with Torts? Who knows? That's the biggest question, right? But to me.
Maybe it's Roslovic.
Could be.
I didn't realize he is an Ohio boy. He grew up playing in the Jack.
He also just signed today.
Yeah.
He signed it too.
Yeah.
The big thing will come down to who signs whatever contract, right? Like, because if Dubois doesn't want to re-sign next year, right, they'll flip him too, right? So you could have a case where both these guys get flipped again next year, right? Laine this offseason and Dubois next trade deadline into the following offseason because they'll both be RFAs again 1 year apart if neither of them sign. So you could be looking at this in 2 years going like, you can't even evaluate this trade because then you're going to go to branch out another 2 ways and you really won't be able to evaluate that trade for a while. You're right.
Yeah. If they both sign, it could end up looking like a Seth Jones, Ryan Johansson thing.
It could. This is almost what it was. You're right. This is really a 1-for-1 trade realistically. Because I think when you have to look at it, that you got to take Roslovic out because they just have to move him, right? To get the roster spot back and everything. I think that was more of a dump. Right. So I think you got to look at it. Dubois for Laine. It's going to be like Johansson for Jones. It's going to be like Hall for Larson. It's going to be one of those 1-for-ones, where in 4 or 5 years is Laine putting up 40 goals, right? But is Dubois a 70-point guy on a playoff Winnipeg team?
Yeah.
Right. Like that's going to be the balancing. It was like Matthews Laine in that first year, right? Matthews had, 70 points or whatever it was. Laine had his 45, right? But they played different games, right? Because Matthews was more well-rounded. So that's the comparison, right? No one expected Laine to play defense. It was just like score.
Yeah. Everybody thought he was the second coming of Ovechkin is when he was coming out. That's what everybody thought he was going to be. But
I don't agree that they have to quarantine on a separate issue. I don't understand how now they have to go sit for 2 weeks when they were healthy on their own team, test them a couple days in a row. If they're clear,
it's the flight between countries.
Doesn't matter. Public health in Canada is completely different with the rules. They're not going to.
Yeah, but I don't
just for a sports, and
general.
that's the only problem.
Even Laine going to the States, like he's got to sit for 2 weeks too, because that's the league rules.
Yeah.
Right. But if they've been healthy and they've been testing positive on their teams, test them a couple days. Right. I don't understand how they got to sit for 2 weeks now. But
I mean, if you're gonna hold everyone accountable in the real world, so you got to hold the players accountable, and that's what the rule was. If you want hockey in Canada, you got to have the same rules. That's the only downside. Like that's thing. I understand where you're coming from. Like I get where you're coming from. It's just that's the problem.
Well,
can we hold our politicians to the same standard?
No.
And we yes, will we? No.
Yeah.
We should, but we're not going to because politicians think they're above the law. But now we're getting sidetracked, so we're going to move away from that. Like, back to you.
I was looking at myself going, don't go down that road.
Yeah.
This could be problematic.
And veer off this way.
Us veer? No.
Never.
It happened.
Irfan, man, like I think Kyle and Justin have done a good job breaking this one down. But what are your thoughts on the trade?
Realistically, I was talking to Matt Hutt, our golf analyst, a little while ago, and I said the most realistic trade is to Winnipeg, but I just didn't think Patrick Laine would be the name going the other way. I actually thought it'd be Kyle Connor because I think Connor's the more torch sort of player in terms of the way he plays, and I think having Dubois and Laine on the line, I think would have wanted Laine to stay going. Well, you know what? There's a perennial star who's down the middle, not named Mark Scheifele or Paul Stastny, but it's a guy who came third overall playing with me on the same line. I think that would have been a fantastic move for the Jets. But again, when you have just disgruntled stars, which is like what Justin said earlier, is like the fact that they have so much pull now. Like athletes have like carte blanche, they have a blank slate, they can do what the hell they want and they get away with it, which I think wasn't the case 25 years ago. So you have a guy who's 22 who's just barely played in the league going, I want out, then I'm not going to play. So screw you.
I was hoping Columbus stood the ground and said, you don't want to play, fine, sit.
Yep.
Especially in a short season. This would have been the perfect year to do it.
Well, I mean, and having Torts there and his output last game or whatever it was, I go, whatever. If you want to play, don't play. Finish off your contract. Stay on the bench. I really don't care.
Best part is he just signed the contract before this season.
Well,
He signed
I don't know why he signed the second year, to be honest.
I feel like it's for his trade value to go up for teams to be like, well, this role and this is what we're gonna do, and the fact that it's what $5 million is not bad for a guy who has like 29 to something playoff games for a Winnipeg team that wants to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, like to be honest, the fact that Columbus got as much as they did with having literally next to no leverage, is impressive. Right? I was saying to Justin last night. I was saying, like, in my opinion, that's an overpayment from Winnipeg because realistically, I think they had the best offer on the table, even without Roslovic added onto it. I think Laine straight up would have been better off than any other package that another team could offer.
But what if that third was the second?
Any other team, if you looked at it from any other team, you were building a legitimate trade package, right? Like the Montreals, the Anaheims, the other 20 teams that called were looking to build an actual package. With the Winnipeg, it was always flipping angry players. Like that was the sole point of this trade from Winnipeg's spot was, let's get some value, but we get rid of our piece, you get rid of your piece. That was like how that trade started. If Montreal called, it was always who's the player, who's the pick, right? It was like a legitimate hockey trade was being built. Same thing with Anaheim, right? But it's just the simplicity of calling Winnipeg and going, my guy doesn't want to be here, your guy doesn't want to be here. Right. And pretty much
two guys don't want to be here.
Yeah. I'll take the other guy who doesn't want to be there too, and I'll give you a third round pick for him.
Because we don't want that third round pick. There you go. It just makes sense.
With this
in season, if this was out of season, I don't think this trade gets made. I think Columbus probably makes this trade for more, right? Or they look at other options, and Winnipeg does the same thing, right? Because this was the simplest in-season trade, right? roster
And you
guys
know what?
for roster.
It also works out because Laine's hurt right now, so he can't play at the moment anyway. So the only team that's really losing anything is Winnipeg temporarily, but neither of the guys were in the lineup anyway. So they've already been using that lineup without Laine or Roslovic for at least a game. It's not
It
like
just
they're
takes
really
the
losing.
distraction out of it too, right? Like you look at
Yeah.
it, and I'm going to double check the score here, but Columbus is still up 3-2, right? They came out strong, but that first game, distraction's gone, right? We'll see how Winnipeg plays this afternoon or this evening, right? It wasn't as big a distraction for Laine because he was playing and he was going to play out the year, right? He wasn't sitting out.
He got hurt though, right?
But for Columbus, it was okay. Like he's gone, right? You don't have to worry about it. The course doesn't have to get asked about it and get all angry. The players don't have to get asked about it. Now it's like excitement. And that's okay. Now we got a guy, whether he wants to be there or not in a year, he's finished. He's got friends. He's got some, people he can bond with, right? And now it's like a fresh start for both of them, right? Regardless, the city and all that stuff, like, that's a separate thing, right?
It's the same city, just a different country. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Trump's there. You don't have to worry about that, so you don't have that deterrent anymore.
There you go. All right, boys. Let's flip the script here, and we'll go over to the big news in the MLB. And George Springer has decided to fly north and become a Blue Jay. We were talking about this being a potential, but the number on the table, I think, kind of surprised everybody. I know the Jays have to overpay because it's Toronto, but 6 years, 150 mil. Kyle, he locks down the outfield for the next 6 years, right?
Yeah, honestly, maybe not full 6 years, maybe 3 or 4, then transition to some sort of corner outfield comparatively. But
sorry, he locks in a outfield spot for the next 6 years.
Yes, because I ultimately do think Austin Martin is the future in center field for the Jays, but it'll be a transition period between them. So I'm pretty sure I thought this was going to happen. His big thing was he wanted 150 million. Apparently, the Jays' offers was like 120 or something originally.
Well, every team was offering 120.
No, but then the Mets really got interested in it, added that 6th year at 125, and the Jays needed to bump the money up in order to actually truly sign him. So, honestly, I think this is a great move for the Jays. The biggest thing for them, though, is the follow-up moves, right? It is where do they go from here, right? Now they finally landed the big fish that, they were linked to everybody under the sun the entire summer. And they still are linked to every single person. Like, if you're a free agent, you've talked to the Jays at least once. So it's
at least once, probably like 12 times.
Or you've ignored their phone calls 17 times.
That too. But to me, it's where do they go from here, right? Biggest glaring need you can see right now is pitching, right? Who do they add to that rotation? That's a legitimate piece and not a number 4 or 5 fringe starter. That's the biggest thing, right? There's big names out there. Does Tanaka potentially come here? Yes, he's rumored to go back to either New York or Japan, but apparently he's also listening to MLB offers.
I don't think you want that guy.
To me, he'd be a great number 2.
He would not be a number 2 anymore. He's not.
Pearson's number 2.
Who? No, Pearson is not a number 2. Not even fucking close. Pearson is not a number 2.
Who?
Pearson is not a number 2. He's not even close to being a number 2 right now.
Well, he gets a shot to be top 3 this year.
Oh, sure. He's 3, 4, 5 right now. He's pitched 20 innings in the MLB. He is not your number 2 pitcher.
I'm saying if you bring Tanaka in right now, Pearson's still number 2 in my mind on the Jays.
Talent-wise, sure. Pitching aspect,
that's
not
what
even
I said.
If we want to talk about talent, you can bring in anybody other than Bauer, and he's your number 2.
I think the best way they're going to have to go with a trade. I don't think they're going to spend any more money on.
Well, apparently they're looking at Paxton, who to me right now is a number 3 at best.
Paxton will be a good
healthy.
He's going to be healthy. He's going to be a buy low, and he could come home for a year or 2.
Yeah,
I don't know. I prefer Walker.
Yeah, the one I've been saying ever since then has been Taijuan Walker. Taijuan Walker fits the bill. He pitched well for you last year, and he's shown that he has the flashes to be that number 2 guy, even though he's technically not a real number 2.
Right. Which allows Pearson a little bit more freedom to be the 2-3, right? They become a combo.
The other thing is I would love Bauer purely to give Pearson a relief. If Bauer says he wants to pitch every 4 days, fine. That gives Pearson more time to be accustomed to actually pitching the MLB, give him a little bit more time so he doesn't have to go there every fifth day and truly be that guy. You can take a step back and develop properly, because last year he didn't develop properly. He basically last year was a write-off of the year.
Well, that's what happens when you get hurt in your work.
But that's what I mean, though. He pitched 20 innings, right? Where realistically there was a chance he probably should have been in the minors if there was a minors season.
No, he was always going to be with the team last year.
I think he started in AAA.
Probably would have been in AAA if there was a AAA.
If there was AAA, he would have started AAA and then probably got called up after the first month or two. If he pitched,
so the majority of the season he would have been.
But I'm saying he would have developed different though, because he would have started in AAA, wouldn't have had the pressures right away, and would have probably wouldn't have ran into the same issue of the injury, because realistically,
at this point, he'd probably be better off to probably would have been better off to take last year off and just have the surgery.
Yeah.
Because with all the pitchers nowadays, they come back better. Like realistically, if you're a smart pitcher that throws 102, you might be better off just to go in and have the thing removed and have the Tommy John and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of guys are doing now, is they're having it before they're 27.
Yeah.
Right. And then they're coming back and they're still throwing gas. The old problem with Tommy John is he used to come back and you'd lose 6, 7, 8 miles an hour and you weren't the same pitcher. Now they figured it out with rehabbing and all that stuff, where half the time you come back stronger.
I would find it very hard for Pearson to come back stronger than throwing 102.
But that's the thing, is it just with guys like that throw so hard and like just so much stress on their arm, right?
Yeah.
It's always
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Do it. Like obviously you're not going to go and take a healthy arm and do it, but like it's more prevalent now, where it's not even like a scary thing anymore. It's just like, oh, Tommy John, all right, see you next year.
Irfan, jump in here, man.
I was gonna say, so either way, pitcher, Blue Jays need a pitcher. Springer,
yes, we all agree on that.
But the next step is a pitcher. There we go.
We all agree that they need a pitcher. Irfan, jump in here, buddy.
Just listening. This is fun. It's the 100th episode, man. I'm taking it chill. I don't care. I'm good.
We brought in Irfan's replacement for the day. He's just listening.
Yeah, hey, man. Justin's on this game today. He's ready to come at you. It's great. It's wonderful.
A ringer.
He's waited 68 weeks to yell at me.
Yeah, to come yell at somebody, but it's fun.
No, I got most of that out last night. we just yell at Matt.
See, it sounds like you have something in the tank. I'll let you know.
Matt is our whipping boy on the betting show.
That's what happens when he malfunctions.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have dumb takes about the Flyers all the time.
Well, that too.
Flyers will win the Stanley Cup. Isn't that what you said, Kyle?
I did.
Start this now. Yeah,
I did that.
Did you actually say that?
I did.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
That's interesting. All right.
It is a dumb take? 100%. I admitted that on the spot.
He did.
But
we have to give him credit.
But I said I want something unconventional in the playoffs, and I said I don't want the traditional winners of like Tampa or Colorado. I don't want that. I want something different, is what I said.
Yeah.
Probably.
So he went orange.
So he went orange, yeah. Kind of like the Liverpool jerseys. Kind of went orange there.
Don't even get into that, Irfan. That can come up later.
That can. Okay, I'll go back to the Blue Jays. This is a good signing in general, just because I think having a big name come in, like last year is Ryu, this year it's Springer. Like the core is good. Our team's young. Toronto looks good, and I think free agents are like, we're talking to every free agent, which is a sign that the Jays are contending or want to contend in the next year or two. The fact that we have to overpay is kind of shitty, but hey, you know what? Just overpay now, and then eventually you won't have to overpay for these agents. They'll call you first before you call them, which is, I think, something Toronto wants to do when they haven't been able to do for a while.
For sure. I think that's a perfect point. And you mentioned the young core. I mean, we can't forget that this team already has Bichette, Biggio, Vladdy. I mean, you could throw Gurriel in there and Hernandez, all guys under 26? Throw Jansen, throw Kirk as well. I forgot about them. Rowdy, like they have a very good young core. They need some of these veteran pieces like a Ryu, like a Springer, which they've signed the last 2 years. Bring in one or two more pieces like that. This team is going to be very, very dangerous. It's going to be interesting to see how the lineup takes shape next year, because you now have 4 outfielders that are going to want playing time in some way, shape, or form. And then you have Alejandro Kirk, who showed last year that he deserves a spot, whether it's DH or catching, to be in the lineup. And that means one player is probably going to be sitting every night that probably deserves a spot right now on this Jays team.
But that's a good thing, because you know how last year we saw games where it's like, hey, we need a big bat to come off the bench.
Yeah, for sure.
Who the hell's that going to be now?
Yeah, we were rolling out Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher
Can't catch a ball, let it go straight over his head.
Hold on. Can we all take in what Justin's face just did?
Yeah,
That guy's not much of an athlete or anything.
He's fast sometimes.
like
When
the
he wants
fact,
to.
Bench runner?
the fact that we had no bench last year.
That's what I'm saying. We actually have one.
The only player on the bench that was actually usable was Davis in the outfield. He was the only usable player because he could run and catch.
Yes.
He could run
Honestly-
and catch and get steals. That was the only usable player.
Our best bench guy was Espinal last year, straight up.
Sorry, I forgot Espinal. Yeah, that's true.
Espinal was
But he
the
also
best guy.
started half the season.
But yeah, because he's super utility and literally you can play him at any position in the infield.
Well, and because
like,
we
as
had
simple as
injuries.
that. But like it's just one of those. Like I still think Espinal is the guy who's going to flip around everywhere. But
Him and Biggio will be going. Will be going.
yeah,
all
like the biggest question for Biggio, and Justin and I have had this conversation multiple times, is Biggio your trade piece now? It's the real question, because apparently there's rumors they're going after Justin Turner to play third base, move Vlad back to first, and at that point, where does Biggio fit?
second.
At second, yes, but then you also have potentially Lords, who's played the infield before, or there's other people you could go after. There's Colton Wong that they've talked to.
Lords
Some
out.
of those pieces for what you're looking for in the rotation, and save your money for more bullpen depth in future years, because signing Bauer, I think, is a terrible idea. I think he's one hot meltdown away from being back to the pitcher he was 2 years ago. He was very inconsistent, things like that. He's not worth the money that he's asking for.
No, but wouldn't he sign a short-term deal? Like, I think that's what he's
No, I
talking
think
about.
this is his long-term deal.
No,
I think.
he's
Yeah.
talked about only
Okay.
signing 1 year deals, and then going into this offseason, he's like, "Oh no, I'm going to get one long contract now."
You never know with him, right? He's always just screwing around with you on Twitter, and he's always just saying things to stoke the fires. Because
Listen, his best fit is going over to the Angels and playing with Trout. If I'm Bauer, that's what I'm looking at.
right? But if you're the Jays, I look at it as you have too much in that middle of the diamond, right? You have way too much at the short and third area position, right? You still have Austin Martin, you still have Groshans, you still have really haven't found a home for Biggio. You know, Lords looks to be in the outfield, but now you have another guy that's got to bump out, right? Grichuk's going to be on the bench. You're going to try and move him if you can attempt to move that contract.
It's only 10.
Biggio
It's
seems
really
like
not
the
that
guy
bad.
out solely because I think Gurriel's a better hitter. Like
Right.
Biggio's got some pop, and he's shown, but like Gurriel like just goes on those runs where he hits everything under the sun.
Yep.
Right. And I think you want to keep that. And Biggio's utility, I think he might be a little bit more consistent now, but I think Gurriel's ceiling is higher.
Right.
And I get that
So
for sure. I
move
think
Biggio, right, for the rotation spot for someone, and you're going to have to move some other pieces, right? Probably one of the catchers as well if you're going after a big name. Me and Kyle have talked Castillo at a Cincy. We don't know how
that's a
much
name that's going
we're
around.
really going to want to move him. Like,
Castillo and Moose and Biggio goes back.
right? And then you figure out between Groshans and Martin who plays second, right? And you go from there. And then
Right.
you figure out if Vlad eventually plays third. He's going to get a shot this year. He's earned it with,
Unless
the
they
amount of
sign
weight
Turner,
lost.
which
but I don't think they should. I think they should give Vlad a chance. Like they
I
told
agree.
him,
I'm just saying, unless.
go lose the weight, get in shape to if you want to play third. And he went and he
And
lost
he went.
the weight.
Yeah. He
Those-
worked on him.
They asked him,
Have you seen those pictures of him?
it's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
They're crazy.
It is night and day.
But
And he's
First
also
round.
still like absolutely smacking the ball around in the Dominican League
Yeah.
right now.
So I think he's earned the right to play almost like I think he's deserved 80 games at third base minimum. Like I don't think this is a 2-week stretch where if he makes some errors, you switch him. I think he's
No.
like, earned the chance to play at least half the season at third, and you just ride with it. And you got to figure it out if he can play there because he's too young to be a first DH. Like they always say,
Yeah.
this guys that try and go first DH at this age, they don't get it. They're not used to sitting and doing 20 minutes of work over 4 hours, right? It didn't work last year.
And you know what? He's proven that he's willing to put in the effort, and so I think they give him the shot. My thing about Biggio is that he seems to be a calming force among the youngsters on the Jays roster, and you've seen it at every level. Like he played with Bichette and Vlad at AA, AAA, every level, and every time he has joined them at the next level, it's kind of had a calming effect on those two, and it keeps them grounded. So I'm wondering if he is the leadership piece out of the three of them, the guy who he might not be the statistical leader, but he's the clubhouse leader, the glue guy that brings everyone together and keeps everyone focused. And you saw it last year when Davis took a knee and Biggio was standing right there, took a knee with him, right? That was a decision that he made because his teammate was worried about taking a knee by himself. He decided to do that. That's the kind of leadership I think this Jays team needs. And I know I was talking about bringing in veterans to do that kind of role. I think they have a great guy in Biggio, and that's why I don't think they want to move him necessarily. But I definitely get what Justin, you and Kyle are saying, that he could move. Like I understand the logic behind
his trade piece value is what they're saying, right? In terms of keeping a guy in the clubhouse, he might be the best option to keep, and maybe go ahead and move Espinal or it was Rowdy. Move Rowdy. Instead, you know what I mean? So I going blank. It's fine. Yeah, I do that once a show.
I think the biggest thing it comes down to: do you move Biggio, who has more trade potential, because you have guys behind him?
Yeah.
Or do you trade the guys behind him because you have Biggio? I think that's really comes down to what the question is.
For sure, and I think it's a possibility that like he could be moved, but I think his value to the team might be more valuable right now just because of that kind of presence that he has in the clubhouse. So
fair.
Regardless, that'll do it for our kickoff segment, sponsored by the Canada Kicking Academy. If you are looking for year-round professional development with elite competition, you need to train with the Canada Kicking Academy. You can follow their website at CanadaKickingAcademy.com, where they post new information all the time, or you can follow them on Instagram at Canada Kicking Academy there. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to just talk about where we've come from, where we want to go. And this is the 100th show. We're going to have some fun with it. All right. We will be right back here on Garage Door Sports.
Good day, everybody. This is Ryan from 20 Minutes on Ice. Join me and my co-host, Nick McVicker, for opinions and analysis on the week that was in the hockey world. New episode available every Friday, wherever you download your favorite podcasts from. 20 Minutes on Ice, part of the Garage Door Sports Network.
We are back in, guys, I mentioned it multiple times now. It's the 100th episode, and there's so much that we could talk about, that how we got here. And I kind of want to go back to the very beginning. And I'm not talking about the beginning of the show where me and Justin started doing this show in 2017 for, best way to put it is shits and giggles. I want to go back to the original idea here, guys. And Kyle, Irfan, you, me, the three of us, every lunch hour in high school, used to just sit and talk sports. And people used to joke that we should turn it into a show. Like that was where the idea came from. And
don't forget French class too.
Oh yeah, French class too. God.
Sorry, Madame Price. We apologize.
That was rough. But man, like to think that idea way back when, where we were just shooting the shit at lunch, turned into me and Justin talking about doing the show with you, Kyle, before you went to Ireland, to your dad, Kyle, naming the show. Because we can't forget that. He did give us the name for the show. And so still expects royalties.
Show, and my dad named this show, and my mom named our betting show. So
yes, she did. I remember that.
So our family has lots of royalties coming in,
apparently. But man, just to talk about how far we've come, and like I wanna start with you, Kyle. Like, how have we got here? Like, how did we do it?
Lay out a step-by-step, week-to-week plan of how things progressed.
a 17-year plan of how we are. No, it's honestly
a business plan.
It's been one of those ones where we've been friends for years, and it's honestly just something we talk about, and now we're putting out to other people to listen to. It is really what it comes down to, and we have fun doing it. Like we enjoy talking, we enjoy going back and forth at each other. We love talking different topics, and honestly, some of the best segments we've ever had is when we don't actually agree with each other, because then we go back and forth, and it's amazing. It's stupid how many times we actually agree with each other, but that's probably because we're just so close.
Yeah.
But at the same point, it's one of those. It's just been great, especially like I can't tell you how much this has helped me get through like this whole pandemic thing, and just, you know, knowing that there's something to look forward to, and not having to go through day and day and day and just like sit on my goddamn couch and do work and literally just like hate my life the entire time. And all of a sudden it's the weekend. It's like, okay, now I can like talk to my buddies for an hour or whatever it may be. It's definitely helped. It's been a huge step forward since where we started. We've gotten so much better. We've expanded the network. We've done everything you could possibly want. We've roped in other people, did different shows. It's been a wild ride, and I'm just so glad I've been a part of it. It's really what it is.
So what I'm understanding from the last 10 seconds of that is we're a free therapy. Gotcha.
Pretty much. I don't have to pay for a shrink, so I'm good.
Yeah, we just have to hear it.
Exactly.
No, Irfan,
We scream at each other, but that's half the fun of it.
oh, for sure. Well, yeah, on your show, for sure. That's all you guys do is yell at each other, and occasionally crack jokes at my expense. By the way.
Well, there's just so much frustration with the money we're losing, because obviously.
So you think of Nick to blame?
Sports are easy, and they're supposed to do what you tell them to do, and obviously they don't for us. So this is where half the frustration comes from.
And when the underdog gets beat by 5 and they're supposed to win by 2, it's just stupid. Like,
that is dumb. I agree. Or, you know, the 15-point loss for a 2-point favorite. It's like, what?
Yeah,
that's just
pretty
dumb.
much. Yeah.
Irfan, what is your thoughts on what Kyle was saying and what you've been through with us here?
Great. I think, you know, I wasn't there as often during the first half of when you and Justin were doing it, but being a guest on it, doing soccer with you, I remember doing all the prep for it, and you're just like, dude, what the hell? That's a lot of that's more prep than I don't think we've ever seen in a while. And I was like,
yeah, you sent me like 10 sheets of prep work for like a 10-minute segment. I was like, ah.
And the best is Justin takes his coat off and says, what are we talking about today, boys?
Oh yeah, I just sit down and I'm like, oh, it's grinding my gears today. Let's try and rope that into discussion.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it was just because I think at that time it was the nerves of, we've been talking about this since we were 12, 13, 14. And then actually putting into motion, it's like, well, I'm going to be prepared because this is my first time. I might not even be asked to come back again if I screw this shit up. Like, I like, this is years of work and I'm trying to get this right. But, you know, it started off with that one episode every so often, to kind of joining the co-host with you and Vardy has been surreal. I think it's been a great experience. And then obviously a lot of us have branched off and made it into a network. And I have to say, I'm grateful for you, Nick, for, you know, starting the show, even though, you know, like, people talk about things and sometimes they just don't follow through. But I think having you following through with it and then being like, hey guys, I'm grabbing you by the collar, we're doing this together.
Actually, you did that to me for the relaunch. I don't know if you remember that.
Did I do that?
Yeah. So what you don't remember clearly is that after me and Justin stopped, I was done. Like I was
after you broke up.
After we broke up, we had it was not pretty. No.
It felt like they were happening every third day, but they were like 10 days apart. And we're like, is it time to do it again? We're looking at each other. We're like, wasn't that just yesterday?
Did we just
like,
do this
8 days ago? We're like, is it really? Oh.
Yeah. But once after that, I was done. I was just gonna try to put my head down, work, and figure out a way to get into the business. And then you decided, like, out of the blue. I don't think we had talked for like almost 2 months at this point, but like out of the blue, you messaged me, "Hey, we got to get the show back on." I was like, "What?" You're like, "We got to get the show back on. I think this is something that's great. I think we got to do it. I don't care who is doing the hosting with you, but you got to get the show back on." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay." So we pulled Kyle back. Okay. We pulled Irfan back. I asked Justin to come back if he wanted to, and he's like, you know what? Right now with work and everything, it didn't work out. But I'm like, okay, well, we'll have you on. And clearly, we've taken 68 episodes to get him back on. But I told him we would have him on. And then he joined the network.
Special episode. It's all good. I didn't know I did that. I just remember us casually talking. Well, hey, you're welcome. I guess I don't know. I'll take credit for something.
But yeah, no, that was you, man. You were the reason that we kind of relaunched the show for sure.
Hey, something good.
Justin was the reason that we got it off the ground. The original show was Justin and Kyle talking about doing a show, and then I came back from school, and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute! You did this at school. Can you help us put this together?"
Hey Kyle, do you want to try and do it from Ireland with the time?
Yeah, and then I went
And then he
to a
decided
different
to
country
leave.
for a year. So
Even though knowing your sleep patterns, it probably would have worked out.
It
You're
would have
always
been
up at
fine.
2 and 3.
oh dude, the amount of times that I slept through the night, like I didn't sleep through the night was just
Would have been perfect. Kyle would have been sitting there. What are your thoughts?
oh dude, those were the fortnight days. I would stay up till 7 in the morning in Ireland to play
with
Fortnite
us.
the boys. Because it was like 2 in the morning back at home.
Oh yeah,
like,
I
oh,
remember.
God.
I remember. That was
Yeah.
that was a mess. But yeah, it was you guys who pushed to start a show, and I just happened to be the tech guy who was there, and it worked out really well, I think, for all of us guys. And
Yeah.
Justin, I can't thank you enough for starting the show with me way back when. September 2017 was when we did our first episode, man.
Wow, I'm just happy it got going. Right, like we didn't think it was going to go anywhere when we kind of stopped it. We just started going back, doing our other things because we were busy, and then you guys started it back up. And I'll admit I was a little like, okay, like we'll see if it gets going again, right? Because we didn't, we had fun with it, and it just, it didn't grab as much as we thought. But you guys have done a good job, and it's grabbing enough to where we branched it into a bunch of other shows, and I got to come back and rant and roar like I usually do, and whether people like that or not, I'm here, deal with it. Right, but it was good. It's good to see that you guys, it's still going and it's running, and we're spreading it out, got other people involved, right? Not necessarily just from our friend group, a group with other people through school and things like that, and you meet other people, right? Had some
Network is networking.
Yeah, cool to see some of the people you've been able to have on and things like that. So it's good to see.
For sure. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that we've gone from just us, like for a while there, it was just me, Kyle, and Irfan talking every week, to now not only do we have us talking, but we have 6 shows on the network where everyone
to be honest, I've lost track how many shows there were.
Yeah. Well, we have 6 now, and more coming.
If someone asks what shows we have, if it's something that's not on the show, Nick will make it a show.
I have 2 more coming down the pipeline in the next couple of weeks.
You know what I mean?
So.
Look where I go. Everything's gonna be covered soon. You're gonna have everything. We're gonna have bocce ball show probably.
Hey, I am more than willing to go down to the valleys and watch that bocce ball tournament down there.
Hey, that is one of the
every
funnest
Friday.
tournaments ever in Mississauga. Okay, don't make
Hey.
Man's screaming out of the Italian grandfather.
Hey, what the?
You think you're in right field?
You know another sport, boys?
You.
A quarantine sport. You know that hockey sack, like they do the sandbag toss. That's like
cornhole.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we gotta cover that. I was watching
There we
the
go.
final last
That'll be a
week
summer
with my
show
dad.
in the trailer. We'll live stream cornhole tournaments.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Oh yeah.
Hey man,
Hey, if we have a recurring winner every single time, it might be a problem. But
What did you say?
what?
We have a recurring winner every single time.
Oh, then I'll just open it up to the park for a challenge.
Well,
Good
to be
to
honest,
know.
I
That
think
would
it
be
all-
cool.
The park roll in.
I think it honestly depends how many pops each of us have had that day. That's the real question.
Yes.
Make sure
pops.
you're throwing them in the right direction.
I got it. No, I don't.
But man, it's just crazy. Like, and I want to talk about some of like our favorite episodes that we've had, because I know it's 100 episodes, 68 since the relaunch. There's been some phenomenal ones, and like I remember doing the World Series preview back when it was the Astros with Justin, and me and him were just going off. This was obviously before the scandal, so I think we were both on Houston to win.
Yeah. What a time that one was. Good old garbage cans. You should go back and watch some highlights and see if you can hear it. Just be back and
Yeah. Kyle, do you have like my favorite episode? I didn't mention my favorite episode, but my favorite episode was actually the one that we had Gabe on, just when the Black Lives Matter stuff all came out. That one was, that was so good. That we handled that conversation better than I expected. Not that I didn't think we were going to handle it well, but it went way better than I expected, and it's still relevant. So it's a good one to go back to every once in a while. Kyle, do you have a favorite episode since we relaunched? Or
Well, I'm gonna pull Kyle as I usually do and go off the board for a few seconds because I got like a top 3.
that's fine. Favorite episodes. There's an S on the end. I said
So-
episodes.
One of them is one before the relaunch, is the very first episode of me being a co-host as I came back with you and Justin was definitely one of those ones where it's like, okay, this is a real thing compared to being calling over the phone. It was different, and it was real, and it was a good episode. And obviously, my second one is probably the first relaunch episode where it was all three of us, and it was just, starting things new, having a fresh face and Irfan join everybody, right? And it was like where it was all three of us, and it was a brand new thing. It was one of those, that was one of my favorites for sure. And then my other one, where it was an episode rather than more like a heartfelt moment, I guess, is our episode where it was the greatest athletes of all time in their sports.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, having that, like, that episode was probably just one of the, like, it was huge. Like, it was almost like a 2-hour episode, I'm pretty sure. And we were just
it was a
going,
long one.
like, we were just going off on just like who the best athlete in each sport was. And it was like, everybody had their own thoughts. And that was one of those moments where I'm pretty sure everybody had a different answer, or at least relative different answers for like top athletes. And it was, the discussion was just amazing.
Yeah, no, you're right. I remember that one. That was definitely one of the highlight episodes. That was our 48-minute episode, our longest episode ever for sure. But it was a good conversation, and it was flowing. Irfan, we'll go with you next, buddy.
Well, I think my first ever episode was phenomenal. I mean, it was just me and Nick going back and forth. That was great. And Justin sitting in the background going, I'll give you guys 30 minutes, do what you got to do, and then I'll hop in after the soccer talk is done. Was a
I actually remember, because we used to record, in studio when the world wasn't stupid. I remember sitting across from the table from Justin, and to give people a perspective, Justin used to stand when we used to record the episodes. He refused to sit. I don't know why, but he just refused that we couldn't sit in my house, apparently. So he used to stand across the table from me.
That was the first installment of the Ass Man.
I just get ready to flip the table when I get too upset. I just would be ready to flip the table and walk out.
But I remember him standing across from me, and like, he had never sat before for any other shows. And then me and Irfan start talking soccer, and all of a sudden he pulls up a chair and just sits down. And I'm just like, oh, it's going to be one of these. All right, let's go.
I got him to sit. Okay.
Hey, Justin, Columbus just scored.
I was just about to say, huge goal. And you hit your over. I was about to say, you might lose this at a 3-2 stalemate.
We're good.
I gotta say, another great episode is anything with when Gabe Ferrara comes on, just because of the way he holds himself. Like, he's so professional when you have a conversation with him, and it doesn't feel like we're ever recording when he's on. And that's why I always like having him on our show, as well as when he's on Touchline Thoughts. We ended up talking about stuff that maybe people don't want to hear about, but at the same time, it's just like, it's a free flowing conversation. And then I got to say, I did appreciate, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but when my friend passed away in that Ethiopian flight in 2019, I think that was, I don't remember anything in that episode except for the ending when we did a little tribute to them and everyone involved, and I'd come out from the funeral, like the ceremony of life, whatever they called it at the time. And so that was one of my favorite episodes, because I got to talk about someone we care about, I care about, I should say. And it's great. Like, I think all in all, we've had moments where there've been like emotional moments, but also like, we're gonna stand up for something moments versus like fun, entertaining moments. And then at the same time, it's like, we talk sports. And I think it's a combination of that. Like, don't take away that we're a sports podcast, but we're also, let's talk about anything and everything that connects to life as well. And I think that's what I appreciate.
We're humans too. That's the biggest part.
I'm only human.
Oh God. Yeah, we're not a singing podcast. There's a reason.
Can you tell? I like broke someone's glass right now. It's fine.
Oh, jeez. Justin, I'm kind of scared to ask you, but do you have any great episode memories, or any just period memories from the show or the network?
It'd be tough. Like, you all know I don't have a great memory, so trying to go back and remember.
Yeah, you want to talk about coming on this episode, or?
Oh yeah, I remember sharply. I was just messing with you, but no, I was just it's more general. Like, when we started it, just babbling back and forth, where you're looking at me after 20 minutes going like, what are you talking about? And I go, where did I start this conversation? Which is kind of what I do with half of the things I do, right? It's just kind of get on my tangent and go, right? But, being able to go back and do the betting podcast now, which is good, because, we get to, screw around and, talk about how much money we've lost when we pretend like we're good, right? But we are good. Anyone out there listening, we're great. Come give us a follow.
Great content. Bets are a little shaky sometimes, but great content.
Yeah, it was the team's fault, not our fault. They were supposed to win. They just didn't win. No, I'm just, I can't really remember, too much from when we did it originally and, certain episodes and things like that. I do remember we did have my cousin Jeff on once to do the MMA stuff. So that was pretty cool. He got to come and he's a huge MMA fan. So he loved it that he got to come on, kind of, just go over everything and things like that. But
that was a good episode. He was awesome.
Or to just see that, everyone's kind of stuck with it and kind of just put the time in and said, whether, you start to get a ton of people watching, it's more like it's something I like to do, keeps us interested, something fun to see everyone. That's kind of, the great thing of it is we're not doing it because someone's telling us to do it or, we think we're going to make money or we think we're going to get all these people listening. We do because it's kind of it's fun. It's fun to hang out. It's fun to chat. And if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere, right? That's be great. But we're not doing it to get attention and things like that.
Yeah. And it's,
I think Justin's favorite part was having his face on the logo before.
You ruined it. I was going to say, guys, everyone look at the logo that I just sent you, the original logo.
Nick's come out with a picture. I'm like, I look ugly from every angle. So why are we trying to put
first
me on
off,
there?
I don't mean to say it, but Justin, you look stoned out of your mind.
Right now?
No, in the logo.
Right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Now.
Maybe I was. I don't know. Maybe that's how I got myself.
Your photos
Oh man.
I think it was the 30th attempt at a picture, and I'm like, oh, are my eyes open? Is my face semi-smiling? All right, this works.
You sent me a couple extras that were awful.
My Snapchat face, Justin. You got to take my Snapchat face.
Wait for it. There we go. Gotta have the eyes. Eyes always have to be up and away. It's always. Oh.
He's thinking really hard.
Jesus, my dad just scared the crap out of me on the podcast right now.
Did he just bark at you?
Are we bringing Ted into this now too?
He just dropped off my ice cap and scared the living shit out of me. Oh my god.
It's been a wild ride since that logo though, for sure. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention all of the amazing guests that we've had on since the beginning. Justin's cousin Jeff, Braden, Gabe.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had them listed somewhere.
I actually don't have it written down. I have it memorized. But
I 100% thought Nick was going to be like, all right.
And
1, 2.
Alphabetical. Here we go.
No, it's actually in episode order. Thank you very much.
Oh,
it's
chronological order.
Alphanumeric order. Nick has the date, the location where each person was when they.
I don't have that information.
That'd be a little much.
But I mean, you think about some of the great guys.
Expect anything different?
I would still expect that though if he did it though.
You would. I don't expect it at all. Nick did this. Okay, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
not expected, but not surprised either. No, but just think about it, guys. We've had some pretty incredible guests on since the beginning. I already mentioned Jeff. We talk about Braden Culver joining us from UB. Good friend of mine, Luke and Kieran, the two soccer analysts that we've had on multiple times. Talk about Mike DeStefano, Al's brother from TSN, is on our show every once in a while. He's been phenomenal. We've already mentioned Gabe, and it goes without saying he's so great, and we're very lucky to have him join us on the network. Don't forget Chris Manella from York. He was phenomenal. That also is one of my favorite episodes when we had him and his girlfriend's dad on to do the greatest sports movie of all time
with his memorabilia.
That was awesome. Those are the kind of moments that you remember. Can't forget Haley McGoldrick. Phenomenal having her and Jordan Shikeli on when we did the Ball Girls, and then having Haley on multiple times on our show and other shows as well. Wade Zanketta, our NFL analyst, he's been phenomenal for us, writing the articles every week, and he's been on to do the CFL draft preview. The list goes on, and just to have these people join us and all the people that have joined through our network, the shows coming around. I have to name everybody because you can't just name the guests, but our hosts, Kyle, Irfan, Logan, shut up, Kyle, Ryan, who we had on last week too, and our newest host, Kellen. Guys are phenomenal. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about the co-hosts as well, and TJ, Matt, Justin, yourself, obviously, Jake over at the Betting House. Gabe is obviously co-hosting our football show. It's been so amazing to see what we've turned this little I don't want to call it a joke of an idea, but that's kind of what it was back in high school.
It was a dream. It was a
it was a
dream.
dream, but it was also a joke at the time. Like people were making jokes at our expense because we would do
sucks now. We hit 100 episodes.
And even in the last year, we've gone from just one show to having our own website to having our own network with 6 shows and growing every day. It truly is phenomenal. And I have to thank each and every one of you, each and every one of the guests that we've had on. It truly has been a blessing, guys. And I'm going to get emotional because this is something that I never expected. So thank you to each and every one of you for being a part of something so great in my life and hopefully your lives as well. Someone can talk. Anybody can talk.
Yeah, let's why don't we
anybody can say something.
Hey, why don't we just transition to a little break and we'll come back shortly? How's that?
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. After the break, we are bringing back an old segment, possibly temporarily, but maybe forever. We don't know. We'll see how it goes, but we're definitely bringing it back for the 100th episode right here on Garage Door Sports. Welcome back, boys, as Kyle falls out of his chair. Welcome back, Kyle. Maybe.
Oh, that hurt.
I think we hurt Kyle.
Kyle hurt himself.
I laid my chair all the way down and then like let go of the handle and I went like flying right back to him and hit me in the back. That hurt.
Old junior injury.
Yeah.
Old junior injury. God. Well, as you can tell, we don't do double takes here, so we're just gonna keep going. And the segment that we are bringing back by popular demand, and by popular demand, I mean Irfan demand, because he's been bugging me for like 6 weeks to bring this back.
No, I stopped in like November.
It was my idea last week.
Yeah, it was. I stopped in November going, I give up now.
Well, okay, fine. Kyle and Irfan demand.
Yeah.
We're bringing back the tire fires. It is tire fire of the week time. And Justin, I mean, it's great to have you back. So we're going to start with you for tire fires. So what is your tire fire of the week, my man?
I remember this segment. This was an interesting time, making fun of people's mistakes or stupidities and
incompetencies.
Yes, we'll go with an interesting interview from this week or this past weekend. New Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell is a bit of a juice head, is the easy way to say it. Obviously,
unconfirmed juice head, unconfirmed.
All right. Look at him. I think you can get enough confirmation that you need for telling him what he is. He looks like he should be in WWE getting ready to jump off the top rope.
Brother.
But no, he's new head coach of the Detroit Lions, kind of out of the blue, right? Old tight ends coach from New Orleans, wasn't really a candidate out there. It's very energetic, shall we say. Isn't focused on wins and losses because you don't want to hear about that.
Just wants the other team to leave with broken bones.
Wants to talk about how when they knock you down, you get back up, swing a couple times, get knocked down again. You're going to bite a kneecap off. You're going to get up, lose some teeth, bite the other kneecap off, eat them piece by piece until there's nothing left is pretty much what he said, which was.
If you haven't watched it already, please go watch it.
You know what? Let's just play it right now, guys. Hold on. We'll play it right now.
I wanted this job bad because I felt like I knew this community. I played here. All right. Here's what I know. Just as an overall philosophy, you're going to say, well, what's this team going to be? What's it not going to be? Here's what I know. All right. I know that Detroit's made up of great people, some really good people. All right. This community is strong. This place has been kicked. It's been battered. It's been bruised. And I can sit up here and give you coach speak all day long. I can give you, hey, we're going to win this many games. I can't. None of that matters. And you guys don't want to hear it anyway. You've had enough of that shit. So excuse my language. All right. Here's what I do know is that this team is going to take on the identity of this city. All right. And this city's been down and it found a way to get up. All right. It's found a way to overcome adversity. All right. And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Oh, yes. Oh, you can see right there.
Yeah, I got you, buddy. Don't worry.
But yes,
He'll put it in.
an interesting man to be taking over a football team that has not done a great job at selecting coaches. So maybe this is it. Maybe they go off the board and take this guy, but that's going to
how
go
much do
some of those
Detroit
sound bites.
regret it? Like, how much does the management regret hiring him?
Probably about as much as the
He
Jets
looks like a
regretted.
players guy. Like in Miami and New Orleans, all the coaches, all the players loved him, right? Because he was a super players guy. Let's see what happens when he's in charge.
Yeah.
Oh, whoever's the offensive defense coordinator, that's literally like they're actually going to do their job for once. It's going to be where a head coach does not actually call the plays. 100%.
100%.
Yeah, interesting way to signal that you've taken over. So I'll give him that. He definitely signaled he said, I'm here. And he said, don't forget about me, because we're definitely never going to forget about Dan Campbell now.
It's almost as bad as the Adam Gase intro to the Jets, where he had the.
Well, that's Adam Gase, which is also a separate problem. We won't get into why he has a job.
I'm just saying, like it was almost as bad as that.
That's up there for coach interviews for me, for like Mike Gundy with I'm a man, I'm 40.
Oh man, I'm 40.
And also
the Bears are who we thought they were.
Yes,
They are who we thought they
yeah.
were.
Don't be surprised if Dan Campbell comes up with one of those. The Lions, we are who we thought we were, and we suck. Something like that. That's going to be one.
It's on the Jaboo wins.
Yeah, that's up there too. That is up there too. Well, that's a good way to start Tire Fires, boys. So, Kyle, you're following that one up because I don't want to.
Well, first off, what segment we should have brought back is Justin's "What Grinds My Gears" segment. Is what we should have brought back.
That is true.
Well, that's a show in itself.
I was gonna say, I'm thinking about that right now, and I'm like, damn, that's a whole show by itself. Like,
It's just
So,
more
Kyle,
like
you can
25
produce it
minutes
moving
long.
forward. New show for the
Yeah.
network.
side
add it to betting.
segment of the betting.
5 minutes, not every show.
Yeah. Chunks of it. Sprinkle it into each show. Just everyone will hear a little bit of me.
That's Justin's
Right.
own
It's
commercial.
just-
He just has his own commercial for every show.
Pretty much. No, my tie fire is Houston sports right now. For the last
Houston sports
3 years.
period. Houston sports
Like,
period.
Houston sports teams, I guess, is what you could really say. Obviously, with the whole the Houston Rockets and the Harden incident and everything that's going on with that whole thing, and just the complete shit show that is Houston sports. Obviously, the Astros losing Springer, almost lost Brantley as well, but they somehow signed him back. The DeAndre Hopkins trade last year that we're still talking about being a complete lopsided trade. Obviously, even trading Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook and how bad that blew up in their face, and then trading Westbrook to the Wizards for John Wall and how that has just turned into nothing right now.
Nothing. I was gonna
It's
say
just-
nothing.
And then even then, and then we're also talking about Garrett Cole leaving the Houston Astros the year before, and then now we're
Scandal.
talking about obviously the Houston scandal too, and now we're talking about potentially Deshaun Watson leaving the Texans, and even potentially JJ Watt too. So it's just the whole state of Houston sports is just a complete shit show right now, and it's honestly fun to watch because it's entertaining television, and it gives us some rumors in our lives, which always helps when it comes to talking sports.
That
So
is true.
it definitely helps that way, but it's the biggest tire fire I could think of.
It's almost as bad as the Sens a couple years ago when they were just trading away everybody.
You remember that heated segment thing we were gonna do?
Oh
I
yeah.
remember doing one just on Melnick and the Sens and just being pissed for 30 minutes of it. So
Yep.
Oh, Eugene.
Oh, Eugene. But yeah, Kyle, you're right. Houston is in shambles, except for their soccer teams. Although the rebrand of the Houston soccer teams is awful, in my opinion. But the actual teams are fine.
Nick, can I guess your tire fire?
You can try. Yeah, for sure. You want to guess my tire fire?
hold on. Before you guess it, are you gonna give him all the money you make on the Columbus game if you're wrong?
There's other legs to that, and no. Because I just thought of what could have been my alternate one. Is that god awful new name for the Montreal soccer team?
Club de Foot, Montreal?
Yeah.
Bleh.
Terrible.
What's okay? First of all, that's what they call soccer in France is foot. It's not football.
Okay. Well, we're not in France. We're in North America, where that sounds terrible.
I'm just saying. I'm just explaining.
That's clearly not, but
It is
I
not
do-
my tire fire. No, it's also not this week, so it's kind of hard to include it this week. Irfan, would you like to go next, or are we saving you for last?
Wait, I thought you were guessing Nick's Justin there.
He
I
did. He
was.
said the
It
club de
was.
foot.
But I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
it was like recent. I didn't realize it was like 2 weeks ago
Oh,
now.
that's a while ago.
The club de foot.
Yeah.
Montreal. You got to add that at the end.
No, it's Montreal. Montreal. There's no T on that, guys. Or that.
Yeah, no, that is not my tire fire though. So I should have won that bet. Damn. Irfan, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
You can go. That's fine.
Okay, I'll go. My tire fire of the week is ironically what led to our main headline this week, and it's Pierre-Luc Dubois' last shift as a Columbus Blue Jacket. That was awful.
Amazing. Oh, sorry.
That was awful. I have not seen a professional hockey player have a worse shift in years. He wanted nothing to do with any contact, didn't even really want to go towards the puck. And I had no problem with Torts benching him after that because he did not look like he wanted to play in the game at all. And now he's moved. So clearly there was something to that. So that is my tire fire of the week. And it is just, yeah, there's nothing more I can say other than awful. So Irfan, you're
Nail
up.
it in Fridays on a Thursday.
Yeah. Jeez. All right, Irfan, you're up, buddy.
My tire fire happened 4 days ago when Mets fired their general manager, Jared Porter, for sending sexually explicit, uninvited, underlining here, uninvited text messages and images to a female reporter in 2016 while working for the Chicago Cubs. Dude, you're with a professional organization. Come on. She said no multiple.
I don't care if you're with a professional organization.
No,
or not.
hold on. Let me finish nailing him for getting mad at him for being on a major team first, and then we'll get back to that. No, I think you're in a position of power, and that's what you're doing. And this is an underlying thing for everyone listening. When someone says no multiple times and is not interested in you, please leave them alone. It can be no now. It can be no in 5 seconds. It can be no in 5 minutes. They don't want your tea, so fuck off. So
wow, I think that's the first full F word we've dropped on the show. Congratulations, Irfan.
On a funny note.
Hold on.
Kyle said it earlier today.
That 100% is complete wrong. Completely
Sorry,
wrong.
emphasized.
No, first one that Irfan probably has said. Let's put it that way.
Second one.
That's
Second.
there's no way that's the second one.
I said it in the summer for something. I think it was the Black Lives Matter, and I just underlined it with that again.
Okay, fine.
Doesn't this seem like a really George Costanza scenario to happen to this guy?
Of course you would put it to
Right.
Welcome to the Seinfeld.
I'm just trying to, we went serious. We went serious, and now we got to bring it back to something just to elude the stupidity of it, right? Like, he did this. Guy just got hired, like, what, 2 months ago, I think? Barely.
Yeah, not even.
Right? Does this, comes out. Typical, like, Costanza. Everything's going good, and then it all falls apart. Now he's fired and back to nowhere.
latex salesman.
Yeah.
No, but honestly,
And in New York, too. Very fitting that it's in New York.
it honestly is a complete shit show. It really is, because like, if I'm a free agent in the MLB, yes, you have Steve Cohen who just came in, but like, to me, that whole association is still a complete like tire fire right now. It's like one of those like, would I want to go there right now?
No.
I do give Steve Cohen credit. He did come in.
He did. That was good.
One day, and the next day he was gone.
He said he's going to change the Mets into becoming something
Right?
people
And everyone
respect.
was against him taking over, and they tried to block him, and he finally got the team. Right. But that does send a message to people and to people that want to work there, women in the organization, that says like, hey, like, this happened. It wasn't a slap on the wrist. They didn't hide it. Like, who knows?
No, exactly.
You know, when it came, if it came out on time. Right. But it came out, he found out, next day was fired.
Yeah.
It's one of those we have your back type things. So it kind of definitely.
Yeah, and he didn't sit there and go, well, I just hired him, so maybe we'll try and fix it. Or
No.
I want to hire another
It's
GM.
inexcusable, yeah.
Right. It just was like, all right, you did this, you're fired. And he came out with a statement, right? And I do give the guy credit, right? And he just said, okay, like, can't change it, right? You can't tell people it didn't happen, but it's like, okay, now we're just gonna, we're gonna move on, right? He's not here, move on. So I do give Steve Cohen credit for that, because he did
For sure.
swift action on that. And not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
Mess in general. Yeah.
I think the funniest, like the most ridiculous part, not the funniest, the most ridiculous part about that is that the guy who sent the picture came out after and said, Oh yeah, it was just like a stock joke image. What?
So you're
All
taking
right.
screenshots of people's PP and sending it to people? Good job, buddy.
Like
Yeah.
that's your
That doesn't make it
defense?
any, that doesn't make it any better. Just shut up and say sorry.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where it's like, really, that's what you're gonna go with?
That's your
Okay.
defense for this?
All right.
Really? It's just stock joke image? No, that is not the way you should be leaning on this one, my friend.
You can just like, okay, it's like the commercial where like all the people just slap themselves in the head as soon as like somebody makes a dumb comment. It's like,
Could have had a V8.
yeah, the entire Mets management.
Can we put the Bernie meme with that? And just the scenario and Bernie just going like, oh, that thing is hilarious.
That is a good tire fire though, Irfan, for sure. And I think that's 4 good tire fires. We will make sure these are posted. You are going to vote and see who is the reigning tire fire champion, and we'll see how long we can keep this little game going because it is definitely a fun one. Boys, that's all I have. We're gonna go around final thoughts of the week. Justin, guest, we will always start with you. Final thought for the week, my friend.
Hey, just happy to come back and visit for a bit. You guys have me back. Appreciate it. I'll try and stop by a little bit more, seeing as we all got a little bit more free time now. For now.
For now, he's not coaching. That's the key.
Yeah. Well, I am saving a bunch of money, but no, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. 100th episode was a big number, so good to come back and mix it up and not just always betting that we usually talk about. So good to mix some stuff up. So appreciate that.
And we'll have you on before 200 for sure. That's a given.
Every 25 episodes, I'll stop and we'll do it like that.
That works.
The quarter marks, I'll just
That works. It's fine.
That way I'll remember. I'll just set a reminder for 25
weeks in the future.
Put it in your calendar now.
Yeah. Kyle, give us your final thought, man.
Couple huge losses in the last couple of days. Obviously Hank Aaron yesterday and Larry King today. Huge
Sutton as well. Don't forget Sutton.
Yeah, Don Sutton the other day too as well. Huge losses in both the sports and media communities. It's definitely been tough, and again, it all comes down to just try and stay as safe as you can. Yes, obviously, old age is a certain factor as well, but sometimes it's the virus that we keep dealing with that has us stuck in our houses for God knows how long. So to me, it's enjoy the sports while you can, be smart and be safe, and hopefully a year from now we're not talking about the same thing. So
hopefully a year from now we're in studio together as opposed to doing this over Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the goal. Irfan, your final thoughts, man.
Sarah Thomas being the first woman to ever officiate the Super Bowl. She'll be the down judge on February 7th when the Super Bowl is going to be played in Tampa. So that's cool news. I like that. It came out 4 days ago as well, because that's where I'm going back a couple of days. But congratulations to her, and I think it's great for the sport.
For sure, and that really is great. I got 2 final thoughts here, boys. One is sports related. Relax. It's quick. NWHL starting this weekend. First game is in the books. Toronto 6 in their inaugural match. Couldn't score a goal. Actually played very well. Could not score a goal. But if you want to watch the NWHL, it is on Twitch. So everyone can watch it. No paid subscription there, which is awesome. And then the semifinals and the finals will be on NBC. Speaking of which, NBC is apparently closing down after 2021.
NBCSN.
NBCSN is shutting down after 2021, so that'll be interesting too. But for now, they are putting on the NWHL final and semifinals, which will be fantastic for the sport to grow a little bit more. And then my real final thought is honestly just thank you to everyone who has made this a possibility. I know I said it before. I'm going to say it again. Every single person who has come on, every single person who has contributed to the network in some form, we thank you. We thank you for listening. We thank you for following us every week and putting up with our crap sometimes, like we put up with each other's crap. And we hope you keep listening. We hope you keep commenting. We hope you keep growing with us, because we have some big plans for this show. We have big plans for the network, and we just want you guys along for the ride with us. So thank you. If you want to follow us, make sure you follow us at Garage Door Sport on Twitter, at Garage Door Sports on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook as well, Garage Door Sports Network. If you're looking for us individually, you can find our great guest, Justin, at JRapier4 on Twitter. Kyle is at Kyle Vardy, Irfan at Irfan Manji, and I am at Nick McVicker. Make sure you follow the rest of the shows on the network because they are definitely worth a follow. If you want to hear more of Justin, make sure you tune into the Betting House pod because he likes to yell and he's very good at it. Sorry, I have to say that. I have to rip you at least once. Irfan is on Touchline Thoughts, and Kyle joins Justin on Betting House every week. You can listen to me on 20 Minutes on Ice. You can also listen to our football show Between the Uprights featuring Logan and Gabe, and our college basketball show featuring Kellen Forrest on the mic. For everyone at the network, for everyone who has ever been a part of it, thank you again, and we will see you next time.